And we are live on the United Public Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM New Orleans. How cool is that? To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave para peeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Father Shawn's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Father Shawn Whittington. I'm an ordained Catholic priest with the United States Old Catholic Church. I'm a fully professed brother with the Old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary. I'm a team member, Society of St. Benedict, and co-founder of GhostBegone.biz. And yes, I'm that guy on Eli Roth Presents The Legion of Exorcists on Travel Channel, which is currently streaming everywhere. And I want to take a moment to thank everybody that continues to discover that show out there in Streamland and reaching out to me with such wonderful support for the show and for the project and all the wonderful compliments. I really appreciate that. God bless you all for doing that. No word yet if we're going to a season 2. It hasn't been canceled. It just hasn't been greenlit for a season 2. So we're keeping our fingers crossed. What else do I want to tell you guys? If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz, ghostbegone.biz. When you go there to visit, there's a lot of cool things to see. My books are there, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, and God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2. You can get them a little less expensive at Amazon, and they also come in an audio version. But if you buy them off the website, they come from my office here. I autograph them, and they arrive to you in a beautiful house blessing kit, which may come in handy. One of those things that you know, better to have one and not need it than to need one and not have one. So both of those are there. But the beautiful thing about buying the books off the website is part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. How cool is that? There's a place on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me. There's also my course there, my online course. It's a 12-week online college-level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, taught by yours truly. And it's a course for all you true warriors for Christ out there that want to learn how to draw your line in the sand, make a stand, circle the wagons, put up a good fight, perhaps the fight of your life against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. You can enroll right there on the website, or if you want more information about the course before making that type of commitment, just reach out to me and we can talk about it, and we'll see if that's the course is right for you. Okay, another cool thing about my show on Fridays is I've got an awesome co-host. And I've also got an awesome guest today, and that's why you all tuned in for the two of them. I should just bring them both on and leave. My co-host, I love her. I respect her. I've known her forever. She's a lifelong paranormal experiencer. She's had a show just like this many years ago that was very popular for many years. She's the owner of Stellium Books. She's my publisher. So without further ado, please welcome to the show my co-host, Annette Munich.
Hi, Father Shawn. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here.
You look very pretty today. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good.
How is the family doing?
Family is doing pretty good.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was pretty good.
Do you have any big plans for Christmas and New Year's?
Oh, I'm working. I keep getting more and more ideas, and I make my little projects and stuff. And
oh yeah, today is the big. We got 2 giveaways
there's a
today.
scarf I'm making for my son.
Oh, very cool. You're so crafty.
You know what? It makes me feel good. It's very relaxing for me, whether I'm painting or crocheting or whatever it is, making jewelry. I just enjoy it. Yeah, today we have a big giveaway of the blessed frankincense incense.
Everybody will get the winners will get a small box, a small 10 count. There's 10 incense cones in here with a little stand too. They're very, very cool. I'll ship them from here. Tell everybody how to enter the drawing.
Okay, what we're doing is just like we did with the bracelet. Just type in the word incense, and I'm going to leave it go open until midnight. And I'll look at the show because I don't want to leave people out of it if they have to work and they can't watch the show live. But
Oh, that's wonderful.
so if they put in the comments incense, then I write their name on a piece of paper, and then later I lay down all of the pieces and I send Shawn a message and say, pick a number between this and that. And he picks a number, and that's our winner. So it's very.
How do you know where to? If they just put the word incense in, how do you know where to ship it? Because I'm going to need another address.
We don't. The lady that won the bracelet last week, we did not hear back from her.
Oh no!
And we don't know where to ship it because I was thinking that they would check back on the page, to see if they won or not. Her name is Jennifer Shirillo.
Okay, Jennifer, if you're watching or you get this message, reach out to us. Well, I'm glad we're talking about it then. Not only put the word incense in, but just your shipping address where we can mail it to you.
So I don't want them to feel like they have to put their address in a public place. I would give them my email, and then we'll get their information that way. But check back on the page tomorrow, the show page, and see, because I will type in the winner, and we've got Michelle here, and we've got Infinite Joy, Michelle Wilfong, and they're all typing incense.
I'll give my email too. It's Shawn SHAWN LVNV as in Las Vegas, Nevada, LVNV at hotmail.com.
At hotmail.com.
Shawn LVNV at hotmail.com, and then you can send us a private message, Annette or myself, your shipping address, and then that way when we pick the winner, I'll know where to send the incense to. Do you want to give out your email now or not till later?
Mine is annette.munich@gmail, but the way you spell it, ANNETTE .period Munich MUNNICH. We might be able to make a little banner that goes across the bottom of the screen too that shows an email for us, but we're just kind of getting all of this figured out on these giveaways. But so that's what we'll do, and I'll post the winner tonight. And Jennifer Shirillo, that was last week. She won the Medjugorje bracelet. Very cool. Just we'll reach out to us, and we'll get your shipping information.
Very, very cool. Are you ready to meet my wonderful guest today?
I certainly am.
I've known her a long time, and this is you two met for the first time in the green room before the show went live and talked a little bit. I promise I'll give you a chance to chat with her a little bit more. She's so cool. I love her and respect her. She used to live here in Vegas. Now she's in Florida, getting ready to move again. She's always on the move. What can I say about her? She is a radio, TV, film personality, a wonderful author. She's the host of Ghost Education 101 and Exploring the Paranormal, and founder of Exploration Paranormal. And she's just super cool. She's a real paranormal authority. I know lots of paranormal authorities don't like to be called that, but I'm going to call her that because she is. So, brothers and sisters, please give a big, warm Paranormal Ministry family welcome to the one and only Heather Landon.
Hey there. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, Heather. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Okay, well, I'm going to check off the boxes first before I let you two gals chat. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. Good. We went to go visit my parents for a few hours.
Very, very cool. Do you got any big plans for Christmas and New Year's?
No, just pretty much working to get through the year and then preparing for 2025 because there's a lot of things happening.
Well, before I let Annette at you, I have to say one thing. I'm so happy that you made it through the hurricane. That was scary stuff. And I've been dying to ask you this. I don't mean to put you on the spot or put your feet to the fire, but so many of my friends that live down in that area, they're talking about how they're, getting ready for it and stuff. What was your decision to stay and not leave when they do the evacuation stuff?
We're far enough inland to where it starts, basically the storms start to die down. But with this last one, we were still a direct hit because it came right over Tampa and then right over us. So it kind of followed I-4 just over us. So it was kind of scary at first, but it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. But it was still, we were without power up until a couple weeks ago, because I work for a communications company. 10% of our customers and 10% of area residents were still without power.
Yeah, I was going to say too, because I have a friend down there that lives by Orlando, and like all the tornado outbreak, that was a whole separate scenario, and that did a lot of damage too. And I think a few people died in the tornado.
Yeah, my parents are in Vero Beach, so they're just south of Melbourne, but north of West Palm. And the island right there got hit with several tornadoes. They said it was unrecognizable when they went over to go to the beach the next day just to see what happened.
I'm so glad you're okay. That is scary, scary stuff. Well, listen, let's get right into it. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I know we talked about, we posted on the promotional banner, the banners, just for you guys that don't know. Annette makes those banners up. She does a wonderful job on it. And she puts the talking points on there. And that seems to get a little more attention towards the shows. And I know we're going to talk about haunted lighthouses today, amongst other things. I have some questions for you too. But before I let Annette at you, I'll just add this real quick about lighthouses. For some reason, I'm totally fascinated by them. And not why people may think. I used to have dreams over and over and over again about lighthouses. And whenever I saw them, and especially when I was in the Navy, when we saw them, like we'd pull into a harbor somewhere and all the sailors are going into town to do what sailors do. And I would be taken off in the opposite direction. They're like, where are you going? I'm going to go take a tour of the lighthouse. They always thought I was really like, this guy's a whack job. And then I had this very gifted psychic on my show many, many years ago. And I never told her anything about this. She stops right in the middle of the interview and says, I can tell you why you're so fascinated about lighthouses. And I didn't say anything. She goes, back in the day, way back in the day in a past life, you were a lighthouse keeper.
Wow.
And you fell to your death down the stairs during a storm. And that's also why you have such bad neck problems. I never said anything about my neck problem, which I do all my life. I've had this bad neck problem, x-rays, exams. They can never figure out what's wrong with my neck. And so I thought that was the most amazing thing. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember about 20 years ago when the government was selling lighthouses for like $1? I wanted to buy one so bad, but you had to, I was going to use my VA loan when I got out of the Navy to buy it, even though it was only for $1, but you had to prove that you could get it back working again and that you had handyman skills, which I didn't have any. And I didn't have the money to, it takes a lot of money because these were all run down, dilapidated lighthouses that they couldn't fix anymore, and they needed you to fix them back up. And I didn't have the ability to do that. But I also know that they're very, very haunted. So you might want to, when you talk about it, in your humble professional opinion, why you think seems to be every single one that I've ever visited was haunted. I could see them, feel them, and whatever else Annette might want to add to that. But I'll let you two chat about haunted lighthouses.
I've heard so many stories of haunted lighthouses, and it occurred to me, Shawn, you could have paid $1, bought a lighthouse, and been haunted by a past version of yourself. What a conundrum. What to do?
Just that, I'm telling you, the whole, and see here, you in an indirect way we got back into the doppelganger thing. The doppelganger thing is
Right.
just tripping me out. You know, how
You-
Sharon
you-
still sees me here. I have yet to see me. So yeah, that would have been
I
been a
actually have new stuff that I could say about that. I guess we could call it a case, but there's been a new incident. But we should ask everybody that comes on this show if they've had experience with this and what their opinions on it are, the doppelganger thing, because, it's really hard to sort of put your finger on what that's all about.
What do you think, Heather, about the doppelganger thing?
Not an area I did a lot of research on, but I've never encountered one. But I know a lot of people who said they have. And I'm still torn on that one. I guess I need to start diving into that and researching that a little bit more. That's like the one area I haven't explored.
Well, you talk to so many paranormal investigators, and I'm sure you have too. And first, a lot of these cases, it starts with a mimicking. They hear someone on their team is calling them, but the team member is in another direction, or the team member's in another direction and they're walking through, and then they see their team member and they go to them to see if they need help or follow them, and they go there and the team member's not there, they're somewhere else. But I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody that's actually come face to face with their doppelganger. Close. I mean, Annette, you've met Susan Ahern. She's stopped at a place that the reason why she stopped is she felt she'd been there before. And she goes up and knocks on the door, not knowing the people, and they open up the door and they go, what are you doing back here? You already came and visited us like a week ago. And she had never been there before. So that's just trippy stuff. And it's like even Sharon, when she was in college, took a trip home for summer vacation, ended up stopping to get a bite to eat and get some gas in this little village. And she was creeped out because everyone in the village was dressed like in olden times and there were no cars and stuff. And people were waving to her like they knew her and stuff. She got a little creeped out and left, drove to the next town. And when she asked the people in this next town about that village, nobody said there's no village there. Between where you left from college to here, we're the first town, so there are no villages. So that has freaked Sharon out all her life, but she's never come face to face with herself before, so that's a trip. But I'll let you two talk about haunted lighthouses.
A quick hello to our friend Lala. She's here. Lala Bright's here.
Hi, Lala.
Always nice to see her. Really quickly, I'm going to butcher this, but someone told me a story that they wrote about traveling and stopping in this really old-fashioned looking town, very little dink place, going into a diner. All the cars and all the people look from, a different era, like the 40s. And he's seeing the cigarettes and he's seeing brands that they don't make anymore for sale. And he's just like, somehow there's places where there can also be a little bit of a time warp. And that's kind of crazy, creepy too.
We have a surprise for everybody who probably already, if you didn't see my post earlier this week, we're also giving a giveaway that's one of the books that Heather wrote, Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley. I did the forward on it. It hasn't arrived yet, Heather.
I shipped it this morning.
As soon as it arrives, guys, she's already autographed it, and then I'm going to autograph the forward. I did the forward in the book. It's a wonderful book. And so you can also put that in chat, right? I guess the word book.
This book is fine.
This book, and Annette will check that later and get back to me, and then we'll try and handle this whole where we're going to ship it to. But you've got our emails now, and that's a wonderful book. Whoever gets that book's going to love that book. And like I said, Heather has autographed it. I'll make sure my autograph gets on there too. And as soon as we know who won the drawing for the book, we'll get that out to you too.
That was so nice, Heather. Thanks for doing that. Really, really nice.
No problem.
So
I thought it was the perfect opportunity.
how many books do you have right now?
Currently, I have 7.
Oh,
And then
wonderful.
and then there's a couple ebooks on Amazon.
Oh, beautiful. You want to
Mhm.
tell the titles of all of your books?
Yep. The first one is Haunted Southern Nevada Ghost Towns, Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley, Haunted Florida Lighthouses, Haunted Florida Ghost Towns, Haunted Florida Roadside Attractions, Ghosts and Legends of the Vegas Valley. And then I have a self-help book that is for people in marketing. That is 13 Things Ghost Hunting Taught Me About Network Marketing.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
When's
And
the cookbook come out?
Yeah.
And you have a new one that is not ready, but it's coming out, right?
Yeah, I'm actually shifting to a different publishing company, and the book, my deadline is January 2nd, and they're hoping for a fall release. And it is Sunshine State Spirits, Ghosts and Legends of Civil War, a Florida Civil War ghost.
Interesting.
Oh, very cool. Very, very
They
cool.
keep changing the title on me so I can never remember.
So I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that Florida's pretty haunted.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've heard that too. I get a lot of Florida people arguing with the New Orleans people, and I get New Orleans people arguing with the Georgia people.
I think everywhere's pretty haunted.
Yeah,
I really do.
You have to be open-minded.
You have to be open-minded, and if you're a little bit maybe sensitive, then you feel things. But I think, it's everywhere. And a lot of people think, I don't know why they think this. I guess years of TV and movies, they think that only buildings are haunted and outside is not haunted. So that one is pretty no, I mean, it's everywhere. The spirit world is around us everywhere. A house doesn't have to look like Adam's Family to be haunted, which is, I think, the big draw to I can't remember the name of those movies, but the paranormal movies where the house was modern looking, because you don't think that that's going to happen. You think it's got to be an old looking, with the shutters falling off and the creaky stairs for it to be haunted, but it's absolutely not true.
No, yesterday we were doing some research down at Gamble Plantation in just a little bit north of St. Pete. And this place is beautiful. It was one of the biggest plantations in Florida. It's the furthest still standing antebellum plantation in this country. And outside, we didn't get to go inside because they reserved that just for their tours, but we were doing research on the grounds, and holy cow, that whole place, you could just feel it walking around. We knew we weren't alone as we were walking around.
Yeah. Which is an interesting thing too, because I have a weird way of describing it. It's kind of like if you tried to describe cheese to someone that's never seen it, tasted it, or smelled it. But once you have, you can go into a place and be like, oh, okay. Once that's in your field of recognition sensually, you can feel it. You can feel what direction it's coming from. You can feel that it's there. But it's hard to explain that to somebody, but you really can.
Yeah, it's hard, but and once, like you said, once you, I guess, tune your body to the different wavelengths, you don't even have to be looking at them anymore to know that they're there.
So. Well, you know what, too, like a lot of the paranormal investigators, I think that they're really high tuning all of their senses because they spend so much time in the dark, sitting still. There's just in tune to their environment. If they hear anything, if they see anything, if they notice a temperature change, just anything, it's almost kind of like going into a state of somewhat of a meditation where you're just so hyper focused. And I think that that's possibly a way to heighten your psychic abilities.
Yep.
Overall,
Exactly. Yeah, because we were recently filming at Waverly Hills back in October, and I had my back, and all of a sudden in the middle of filming, I'm like, is there someone 2 doors back behind us? And the crew I was filming with, they're like, no, we're all right here. And then immediately we're all like tuned to that room but it was just really weird, how you can just pick up on it.
Right. So how many lighthouses have you gone to and written about in the book?
Well, there's over 300 lighthouses.
Wow.
And I think I covered about 20 or 30 that
just
are
there
known
in
to be
Florida?
haunted.
300 of them just there in Florida?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. I would never thought it was that many.
Yeah. I mean, they're all over. I mean, if you think about a lot of them in Key West aren't actually on land. They're almost like freestanding, kind of like, the bobbers that do the temperatures and everything like that. But they're out there to prevent the ships from beaching on the coral reefs down there.
Wow.
So they have one every so many miles to make sure that everybody is covered and they're showing everything. But as far as ones I've been to, I think I've only been to about a dozen because there's just way too many of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 300. Give us I know you probably have had some crazy paranormal experiences at some of the ones you visited. Can you tell us about any of that?
When we were visiting, it was the Jupiter Inlet Lighthouse, just north of West Palm. That one, I was the only one in the lighthouse tower, and I was just kind of walking around just the bottom area waiting for the tour to come and catch up to me. And because I have a tendency to walk off from tours, and it sounded like someone was coming down the stairs. And, I yelled up, is anybody up there? And there was no answer, no nothing. And they were getting louder and louder as they were coming closer. And then they stopped all of a sudden. When we were also in the gift shop, and I kept hearing someone humming and like following me around the gift shop. And I thought that was pretty wild. And this was like years before I jumped into this full time. So it was kind of, it's the other one. St. Augustine is a fun one. Just more sensations there. I did, however, feel when we were on the grounds where the girls had died, I did feel like I wanted to start crying. Just out of nowhere, I just felt this overwhelming sadness, like I was ready just to start bawling. And then the other one that I found was interesting. There's 2 other lighthouses that I included that are not on water. They're on water, but they're not technically lighthouses. There's one in Mount Dora. It's actually the only inland lighthouse still in operation, and it's on a lake because the lake had a little dark spot at night, and a lot of boats would get stuck there, so they put a lighthouse there. That one just almost like there was no wind blowing, but you could hear like wind howling while you're standing there by the lighthouse. And then the other one is at John's Pass, and I haven't been back to see if it's still up because I know John's Pass lost its boardwalk during the last hurricane, but there's a faux lighthouse. And that lighthouse has everything from seeing pirates walking on the boardwalk next to the lighthouse. I haven't witnessed any of it, but then also 2 Civil War soldiers have been spotted there as well. So, but those were the ones.
Refresh my memory again on the 2 children that died at St. Augustine. I forgot that story.
It was the Petrie daughters and then one of the workers' daughters. And they were riding in a rail cart, and they would ride the rail cart back and forth like down the hill, almost like a sled. And the board that stopped it failed, and they plummeted off the cliff.
Oh, God.
Into the water.
Wow. Let's talk about.
But some people have actually reported seeing them there playing.
Well, yeah, I bet. And let's talk about, for one, there's the theory that by water, you get a lot of the paranormal activity. Now let's talk about storms. I have. A lot of people don't know this, but there are these specific storm chasers, if you will, paranormal storm chasers that will go to areas that just recently were hit by something like a hurricane or a tornado or what have you. And then they'll immediately go to some of the alleged really haunted locations because they claim that almost always the activity just spikes off the chart. Do you have a theory? I mean, you're down there. You just experienced a hurricane. Have you been to any of the places after the hurricane?
No, not immediately after, but I do know I have a friend in Johns Pass, and they were messaging me saying that people were telling them during the cleanup tons of stories that activity actually picked up. And for me personally, and all the research I've done in Florida, I personally think Johns Pass is one of the most haunted areas in the state. And it's just, they said that they were getting reports from people they're cleaning up that they would have, hear other people's voices, people calling for help, and there's nobody around calling for help. They would see shadow figures walking on the boardwalk, but the boardwalk was no longer there.
Wow.
So they're elevated and, the boardwalk is gone. I personally think that it could be the spirits are just as shocked as we are, that their home is destroyed, but they can't do anything about it.
That's really interesting, and I hadn't heard that before, a correlation about an uptick in paranormal activity after severe weather. I hadn't heard of that before.
Yeah, one of the most famous stories is about all of the paranormal activity that New Orleans experienced after that one big, really bad, and God forgive me for forgetting the name of that.
Katrina?
Yeah, that's it. Because, they had coffins floating down the street and suicides and many people died right there that stayed behind and didn't evacuate. So yeah, there was a lot of reports of the paranormal activity, just feeling a foreboding, like an evil blanket had just came over that city. That's pretty intense. But yeah, what about the residual stuff? Now you see these ghosts. Like I know you are. You're the got some great shows. Ghost Education 101. So let me ask you on Ghost Education 101. Do ghosts make good students?
No, but humans don't make good students either. So
No, they don't. And I always tell people when you go to these locations, if I was a ghost, I would be annoyed at the team after team after team coming in there asking me to, they knock. They want you to knock twice, or they want you to roll the ball, or they want you to turn on the flashlight. I mean, I love it when I see some of these teams that really were passionate enough to get a little more creative in how they want to talk to these spirits. Like, people think I'm crazy for doing this, but I'm a big fan of the old voiceover recorders that take the little cassette decks. Everybody says, well, the theory is they create their own white noise. Well, I would actually, before I even go to the location, I'm like, well, if we hear them better on there, maybe they hear us better on the tape. So I'll record an EVP session, my voice the questions on one tape recorder. And then when I go there, I'll find an area that I think I started finding team members would come to me way back in the day and say, did you conduct an EVP session in this area? Matter of fact, I did. How'd you know? Well, I was getting somebody answering, saying stuff to us, and I wasn't asking any questions on the other side of the location. So I got to thinking, and I don't know why I thought of a baby monitor, because I had so many mothers come to me and say, I hear my child talking to somebody at night on the baby monitor. So I bought a really cool set of baby monitors. I set one at the other end of the location. I set the baby monitor up for like real-time conversation. I would have one tape recorder recording. I would press play on the other tape recorder, and then I would be quiet. And the tape recorder, it would ask my question, and about 30 seconds pause. It would ask another question, and you would actually get almost real-time EVP response on this baby monitor, and the other end of the baby monitor is somewhere else.
Right.
But sometimes you would get nothing recorded on the tape recorder or nothing recorded on the high def audio on the camera that's filming. So I have no explanation for any of that. I know that I don't know all the answers. I know I'm going to put your feet to the fire here. What do you think about all of that? You have an EVP session in one area, questions being answered somewhere else. You're audibly hearing answers, but the other tape recorder is not picking it up. What do you think's going on there?
There's a ton of different things that are going on in that scenario because if you think about it, spirits aren't really stuck in one area like we are. So who's to say that their conscious isn't spread throughout the whole location? So when you're asking your questions, maybe their conscious is strong enough to provide a response, but it's across on the other side of the property. And as far as like the different recorders picking it up, we get that all the time. I mean, we'll have a video camera pick up one part of the answer and then a digital voice recorder on the other side of the room picking up the other part of the answer. But any of us heard anything that was being said. So I just think it's more or less about where the spirit is and kind of like maybe what their frequency level is as well, because that's why I personally believe that's why not a lot of people see spirits, because they're not in tune at the same frequency that the spirits are.
Let's give a big, if you can, in your humble opinion, humble and professional opinion, give people, I'm have so many new ghost hunters and ghostbusters and paranormal investigators reaching out to me, not only for help because they didn't need any training and they went somewhere and they said and did the wrong thing, didn't respect the location, provoked when they shouldn't have. Your team has been so successful and been to so many places all over the country. Give everybody out there new to this field that's thinking about, picking up a tape recorder and a camera and going on ghost tours and going out on their own and investigating alleged haunted locations. Give up your biggest do, what you think a team should always do, and give us your biggest don't, what a team and members should never do.
Okay. First of all, the biggest do, as I tell everybody, is to find a mentor. I mean, just because you've watched all these ghost shows, or, I even tell people, even if they've watched Ghost Education 101, you still need a mentor to help guide you. And, and it's not a long-term thing, just kind of learn the ins and outs, and actually shadow them a couple times on an investigation to see what they do. And the biggest don't is don't stop learning. This field is continually changing. Be selective in what you're learning from and who you're learning from, but read as many books as you can and make educated decisions as to what you feel is the correct way to do it for you and your team. Just because one team does it a certain way doesn't mean your team either A, has to do it that way, or B, can't find a way that works for them.
What's your theory on or your opinion on having a legitimate gifted psychic on the team? Many teams love having a psychic on the team. Many teams won't have a psychic on the team. What do you feel about that?
Personally, I think whether or not you have one as a member of your team, you want to have a connection to one. And what we don't have one on our team, even though a lot of people have told me I just don't pursue those abilities just because I like to know the history and everything I can about a location before we investigate. And that's not something a psychic can do. But when you do bring your psychic, make sure that they don't know the address, don't know the location, and don't know anything about anything that's happening. And when we've brought one on an investigation with us in the past, we've actually picked them up and told them, we wouldn't give them the address for them to drive because you run the risk of them actually Googling that address.
Good advice. Good advice. Did you give us a don't?
Don't stop learning, but I have a whole list of don'ts.
Yeah, I bet you do. Well, listen, I was stalking you this past week. And I noticed back around Halloween time, I said, I know she must have done something fun around Halloween time. And I saw that you were at this little event where they had like the traveling bookstore and you were doing a book signing and all that. But right up the road, you said, well, I'm just down the road from this alleged haunted location. I'm going to go there and do a photo op and check the place out. Tell everybody, that place looked amazing. What was that all about?
It's Spook Hill in Lake Wales. It is, I'm still torn on whether it's haunted or not. but the legend behind it is amazing. And you do feel an energy when you're there, like something's just not right. But the biggest legend is that there's like two different ones. A local bar legend is that two people got into a fight, and one person is buried there, and that person, whenever cars stop there, because that's where he died, he'll push the car out of the way, so it's one of those where it rolls uphill. But standing there, it's all an optical illusion, at least from my perspective. But the legends are just, then the other legend is a Native American chief and an alligator that got into a fight, and it's the chief pushing people out of the way because he's afraid that they're going to get attacked by the alligator.
Do you have a haunted pirate story?
Oh, which ones do you want? I got a ton of those.
Yeah, I would love to hear about some spectral pirates. That would be very cool.
This one actually covers both pirates and lighthouses. Carey's Fort Lighthouse is one of those lighthouses over the reef. And there was a maintenance worker on there working. And while he was working, he looked down into the water, and a skeleton in a pirate outfit started floating underneath him. Freaked him out. And all of a sudden, it didn't sink in the water. It just vanished. It slowly disappeared. He got in his boat, hightailed it out there, and requested a new place to work.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, pirates have always intrigued me, but also freaked me out. You can go into a lot of these places back in the day, these historic places that were frequented by pirates, and the ambiance and just the feel of the place is much different than any other place. And I'm thinking of even like I think it's in Seattle, Washington. They have the underground tunnels where many of those bars. That's where they came up with the name Shanghai, because many of the bars had trap doors where they'd get a guy drunk and they'd spike his drink and knock him out, and then shove him down these holes or hit him over the head or something and shove him down these holes, and then they would take him out through these tunnels to these ships that needed sailors. And that's a form of pirating, if you will. But those areas too are very, very haunted. But,
and what's interesting in my research, Tampa has this huge pirate festival every year celebrating Gasparilla. Gasparilla never existed.
Really?
He never existed, but there are now, whether it's self-manifested or an energy thought form or something, but people are seeing a pirate believed to be Gasparilla walking on the shores of Tampa. But there are no records that he ever existed, but he has this long story behind him. And it came out that 1920 something, the hotel on Gasparilla Island created Jose Gaspar, the pirate, as a marketing ploy to get people to come to the island to visit. And that's how he came about.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, I remember when I was in the Navy, I used to, even if I wasn't working like at night, you don't have any lights on, so you better know where you're going or you don't smack your head on a bulkhead and crack it open. But if I wasn't working at night in the radio shack, I would set my alarm and I would leave my berthing area, and I'd go out, and for years I would just hope to have a ghost ship sighting, especially if we were in an area that was known to have had sightings before of ghost ships. Never saw one. But what's your theory on that? Do you think that's it could be intelligent, maybe, I don't know, maybe residual, but there must be stories of the sightings of ghost ships down in your area.
Yeah, I found two. One is Sulphur Springs, which used to be a lighthouse, but now it's a water tower. There is people will see a ship that looks like a pirate ship just kind of wandering and then just all of a sudden vanishes. So for me, I think that one might be residual just because of the way it doesn't interact or anything. But then there are stories in the Everglades that there's a pirate ship that makes its way through the Everglades as far as it can. And it almost seems like because people have said that they've seen spirits on that ship and pirates on that ship. And it seems that those pirates seem to notice when someone notices them, and then they turn the ship around.
Interesting. That would be creepy.
Isn't that creepy? It's like creepy cool.
Yeah, creepy cool, but very creepy. There has to be something so also very sad. The vision of a ghost ship, you know.
Yeah.
And it's fun, you know, when I would tell other sailors on the ship what I was doing, they'd get upset with me because that's bad luck. They don't want, you know, if we see one, you know, that's bad luck. If you're on a ship and you see a ghost ship, it's bad luck. So, you know, knock that off. The guys would get mad at me. You know, it is what it is. You know. Well, listen, talk to everybody about. I think a couple of people reached out to me last night. You don't do. Are you on hiatus on your shows, or are you still doing them on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Both Ghost Education 101 and Exploring the Paranormal. People have asked me about that this past week.
Yeah, Ghost Education 101, we had some issues in, the storms. We had the two hurricanes back to back that knocked out a power, so I wasn't able to host it for about a month. And then we did 2 shows in October, but now we're on break until after the first of the year because of our schedules. And Exploring the Paranormal is actually, I'm trying to find a new home for it. Ever since WLTK Talk Radio shut down, I haven't had a home for my show. So I'm kind of in the process of trying to find a new home for it.
Interesting. Very interesting. You'll find one.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, both of your shows are wonderful. You won't have a problem with that, but very, very cool. Very, very cool. Annette, do you have anything else you'd like to, before we kick her out of here? Gosh, that went fast. Do you have anything else you'd like to?
Do we have time to do that?
Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I want to pull out today's mailbag question and see if it's.
We get some really interesting questions, and a lot of times the guests have, just something really great to say about it,
This is from Ben K in Washington. Hi, Ben. I'm assuming the state, Washington State. I live in a pretty haunted area. Some of it is the land. Some of it are locations where bad things have happened. Where do you feel the most haunted area? Where do you feel the most haunted area of the country? I would imagine he meant what part of the country. What do you feel are the most common causes for a haunting? That's a good question. It's funny. We kind of indirectly answered that in the beginning of the show.
Right.
The most haunted part of everywhere's haunted. You can find hauntings everywhere, but that is a good question. What do you feel is one of the main causes for a haunting? And I know there's probably 100 answers to that, but what do you think? What's your gut tell you?
I guess I can sum it up in the word love. Because spirits will go, people think that they're in the cemetery with their body. They're not. They'll think that they're where they died. Chances are they're not. Why do you want to relive that personally? I think they go to a location that they absolutely loved, or they hang around loved ones. I mean, if I pass, I want to go somewhere that I enjoy. I mean, I'll probably haunt the beach, knowing me, because I absolutely love the beach. That's my home, or even Gettysburg, because that I feel like is my second home. I love Gettysburg.
When I was a very young kid, I had a paranormal experience. I didn't know it at the time, at Valley Forge. And I remember many years later asking my parents about the reenactment, when I learned what a reenactment was, about the reenactment that we witnessed at Valley Forge. And they said there was no reenactment there. So I was experiencing this, and I didn't share it with my older sisters or my parents till many years later. But Gettysburg is another one of those places. Been there, and I don't think I experienced anything paranormal there. But I mean, I have name after name after name on these lists of people that have talked to me about experiencing things there. Yeah, just off the charts, haunted locale.
Yep. I probably have had my most paranormal experiences in one location in Gettysburg, because I think the one time we visited, I must have had at least 6 in one weekend visit.
So the funny thing is, for me, before I even, thought of anywhere else, you already said Gettysburg, and he said Gettysburg, and I was going to say Gettysburg.
Yeah.
For, to think about the largest, most concentrated haunted location. Of course, there's many, many, but that's like the first one that pops into my mind is Gettysburg. And, you know, I used to get email and people would say, I live by a Civil War battlefield and I think it's haunted. You know, it's like, I'd be more surprised if it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, all the sudden death, the heightened emotions, the just, yeah, right.
Do you think every spirit needs to be crossed over, or should you let them decide if they want to? Clearly, they know that there's, well, some will say no, they don't, some don't know. But I have a theory that most of them do know, and they choose to be where they're at for the time being. And I think they should, unless they're causing problems and freaking out the people that live there, or behaving in a malevolent manner, I think they should kind of be left to decide when it's time uh, to realize they're not of this, they're of the ages, they're not of this time anymore, and it's time for them to move on. Do you think they should be given a little bit of room to decide on their own, or do you think they so don't belong here that you should really try to cross them over all the time?
Well, if we crossed them all over, I'd be out of a job. No. No.
And that's spoken like a person who owns a haunted location. I've gone into so many locations where it's a haunted location. They give tours. They recognize me and they go, you know, they take me off to the side and they go, you know, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but don't be crossing anybody over because, you know, I got a good gig here.
And that's the spirit's choice, not the owner's choice. I think if the spirit wants to go, we should help them. You know, they have free will just like we do. You know, so if they want to go, let them. But if they want to stay, let them stay.
Heather, before I kick you out of here, and God bless you for showing up today. You know I love you and respect you. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they need to for any reason.
Okay. You can find me on Facebook at Dr. Heather Leigh or at Exploring the Paranormal. Those are the two Facebook pages that I check most often. Or if you needed to, you could email me at heather.lee73@gmail.com.
Very, very cool.
And stay tuned to my social media pages because there's a lot of things. I've been quiet the last couple months, but there's a lot of things in 2025 that are going to be announced or I need to catch up on announcing because I've done some things that have been pretty cool. I just haven't shared yet.
Very, very cool. I'm looking forward to it. I want you to have a wonderful remainder to your Friday evening and a wonderful weekend. Have a very blessed Christmas. Have a wonderful and safe New Year's. I know, did you have fun? Will you come back?
Oh, of course I will. You know I will.
And you know, anytime you have a last second cancellation of a guest or anything and you need to reach out to me, I don't do anything. Okay. I'd be more than happy to come on and chat with you about anything. But thank you so much for being here. And I'll let Annette say goodbye to you. Then I'm going to kick you out of here.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks so much, Heather. You were just really, really fascinating. The stories were really interesting, and I enjoyed meeting you. I hope you come back soon.
I definitely will. You guys just let me know when.
I love you, sweetie. Take care.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Heather Landon. I knew you would like her.
Oh, that was so really interesting. I love that.
Anything you want to tell anybody before I kick you out of here?
Last chance if you want to. We had a couple people join in late. We got Lou Ryder. And anyone that came in late, if you want to type in for the incense or to type in for the book, go ahead and do that. And we will still honor people that are typing that into the comments. Until
remember, you can send us a private message, Shawn, SHAWN, LVNV@hotmail.com with your shipping address if you win the book or the address. And then Annette is ANNETTE.Munich, MUNNICH. What comes after Munich?
At Gmail.
At gmail.com. Our guest next week, I'm looking so forward to this guy. He just had his shoulder replaced. Ooh. And he's home for the first week. And I said, you want to skip this time and reschedule? You know, he has such a good time when he comes on that he says, no, I'm doing the show.
Yes.
And it's Friday the 13th next
Ooh.
week for our show. You're never going to guess the topic. Yeah, I know Friday the 13th. But this is a good one. In my humble opinion, he's the most knowledgeable expert. I'm going to call him an expert on Bigfoot. And
Oh,
he's had
interesting.
many, many encounters with them. And his name is Carl Supp. S-U-P.
Carl
Carl
Sup.
Supp.
Yes, he was on with us before. I liked him very much.
Oh, that's right. You've met him
He's out in
before. So
Arizona, right?
I don't know where he's at this time. He moves around too, just like Heather does. So we'll find out where he's at. But that's going to be a wonderful show. And I love and respect you. Thank you so much for being my co-host. Couldn't do it without you.
You are
You
so
two,
welcome. Thank you.
you two have a wonderful remainder to your Friday evening. God bless you. And I'll see you. You and I are going to talk between now and then, but I'll see you on Friday the 13th for our
Thank you
next
so
show.
much. Thanks for everything, and good night to the audience.
Good night. Annette Munich. Let me check the prayer urn real quick. I'll leave you guys all with a nice prayer. Veronica W. from Texas. Hi, Veronica. I know you believe in guardian angels. Yes, I do. I do too. Mine has always been there for me in times of trouble. Could you please pray for mine and everyone else's guardian angels? That's a wonderful, wonderful request, Veronica. And I absolutely will. And yes, I do believe in them. Trust me, guys, on this. We all have at least one or more. And because of free will, they can't just intervene. If you need their help, they're waiting for you to ask for their help. Pray to them often. Okay? Let me find a good guardian angel prayer here. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Dear angel, in his goodness, God gave you to me to guide, protect, and enlighten me, and to bring me back to the right way when I go astray. Encourage me when I am disheartened, and instruct me when I err in my judgment. Help me to become more Christ-like, and so someday to be accepted into the company of angels and saints in heaven. Amen. And I offer that up to everybody's guardian angel. And trust me, brothers and sisters, when I tell you that they do exist. I've met mine twice. Both times, I think it's a she. I don't know if they have sexes, if they're male or female. But she appears to me as a female, and she saved my life twice. So, on that note, thank you all for being here. I don't have a show without you guys. God bless you all. Thank you to United Public Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM New Orleans, UPRNTalkRadio.com. Go there if you're a sponsor and you want to have your brand mentioned live on air during my show. Speak to the people there and work that out. So thank you both for that. Stay tuned for Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, host of Spirit Switchboard. And remember, brothers and sisters, we may have done what the devil said we did, but we are not who the devil says we are. I love you all. God bless you all. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God bless you all. Peace.